So I wanted to introduce you to my Peruvian market. I have no idea how the sound will be, but this is my day-to-day life. I realized I don't share a whole lot of it. You see me in a little office, but here's me out and about at my daily market. So this is where I come to do my groceries. I bring my reusable bags, and I'll just walk around a little bit and show you some of the things that you can find in a Peruvian market. You guys can let me know at the bottom if it's something that you can see, but this isn't me traveling. This is my daily market, almost 14 years here. And I am going to plan to get a better mic, so let me know how you guys can hear me. And it's also pretty bad internet because we are in the mountains of Peru. So this is open every single day. And this is where I do my shopping. So I carry my groceries on me. I've got my backpack with my work stuff. And I'll just do a little quick tour that we've got huge sacks of potatoes. Girls going by in traditional vestida outfits. Hey, Jason. Hey, Robin. Hey, Linda. I haven't done a daytime one. This is my daytime living. You can see the traditional outfits, all handmade. And it's sort of indoor-outdoor. There is a roof now. There didn't used to be. They did a big renovation. But you guys can just see the fruits and veggies right here that just got open air. Probably a lot of things you have seen. Tomatoes, onions, garlic, cauliflower. And then they have a few extra things that maybe you haven't seen, like this giant zapallo. This is a huge pumpkin. We actually learned how to make pumpkin pie. We've also got, this is called yuca. I talk a lot about making, it's basically manioc or yuca that can be turned into flour. So that's our veggies. And then we've got our fruits. So lots of stuff from the jungle that's local. Oranges, bananas, mandarinas. This one is a little bit different. That's got a pepino. And there's some things that we never used to be able to get here for like 10 years. Like I couldn't get blueberries. They grow strawberries here, but I couldn't get blueberries. There's a lot of papaya, a lot of stuff that's local. This is another one. Maracuya. Maracuya is it's like a slimy, snotty, super sweet, delicious fruit. So my boys love it. And then I want to show you the size of the avocados we have here. Disculpa. And so the avocados are like, I mean, it used to be tres por un sol, so 3 giant avocados for like 25 cents. Now it's like 1 sol per avocado, or like 33 cents. So I'm just giving a market tour of my daily market run. So right over here, we've got meat, and you can actually see the dogs running around our fresh air market. Some of my favorite areas are the chocolate ladies. Hola, Cassie, ¿cómo estás? So you really build a relationship with specific ladies, and then they'll give you what's called a yape for like loyalty, which is a little gift that says thank you for always coming to me, because they sell a lot of the same stuff in different stores. So I'm just going to show you like some of the superfoods we have. Chia seeds, nuts, giant corn, huge things of organic honey. And yeah, I get yucca sticks for my boys. I get lots of good snacks, nuts, raisins, dried fruit, pistachios they're really into right now. And then I'll take you guys over this way too. These are all the grains. So I get my oatmeal and my lentils and my beans there. And then there's a bunch of places like this that this is definitely not as common. They pre-make sauces. So they pre-blend, like one is different kinds of ají, different kinds of pepper sauce, different kinds of herb sauce, and then this giant balde bucket is called ajo or garlic. It's just a giant tub of liquefied garlic. So here's a lot of the dry grains. This one's actually freeze dried on the mountains, put into the glacier and the sun, and that's how they used to store these kinds of potatoes. Well, chuño, they last forever. They have a very specific flavor. But we've got 3 stories. Up at the top, there are juice ladies, and there's people eating lunch up there, or breakfast now. But you can get a whole plate for like 3 or 4 soles, so maybe $1, $1.50 for a big meal. So I wanted to just share a little of my day-to-day life. I don't know why, but this is what I do every single day. Sometimes, truthfully, it gets super heavy to carry the groceries of 4 up and down hills, on and off motos, around town all day on your back. I'll show you some of the other local costumbres, the costumes. Beautiful handmade ponchos, beautiful dyes, lots of patterns and color. And then I'll walk through. Today's actually a bit of a festival day, so you can see that there's people cooking food on the street. So this is pretty common during the summer. Big open barbecues right here. So thank you for the tour. Yeah, this is my day-to-day market. There's a bit of electronics over here. There's actually another market that's a bit quieter. This is called the Old Market. I'll walk through because there's some really beautiful flowers. Many more of the local ladies who sell stuff straight from their farm. There's a lot of decoration. It's not always decorated. You can see it right now. And they just lay their mantas. I've talked about the manta, where you basically carry all of your stuff on your back. And so they bring their harvest up, carry it on their back, and then you can see that the manta is laid down. And this is how the traditional old markets were done. So each mamita. Oh, here's another Peruvian delicacy. Cuy. It's gerbil. So gerbils are raised here as a delicacy. Very, very high protein, surprisingly tasty, but definitely not something people are used to. And then here's our flower market. Flowers are my favorite. So you can see lots and lots of carnations and beautiful sunflowers, beautiful flowers of all kinds. There's different things that for different seasons and different events. Certain flowers are used for certain kind of different events. I think they're all dancing today in the plaza. They put on the traditional vestido and they go dance. So that's our second market. And I can show, yeah, we've got fresh herbs down here. And then boiled chicken over here. You guys can see the mountains in the back. So this is where I walk. This is where I live. This is a very, very busy, packed day. It's not usually this many people. It is kind of a quiet village, but during festival time, people really go. Really like very social, lots of dancing, lots of events. I'll walk you into the plaza just to kind of finish the circuit. So this is all walking streets here. And we'll see how the internet goes. Seems like some people are still tuned in. If you guys are just tuning in, I'm in Urubamba, Peru, where I live. I've been here for 13 years. Well, in Peru for 13 years, 3 in the jungle, if you guys have been following along. And now we're going into the main plaza. Every town in South America, really, Central America as well, have like a central area called a plaza, and it's where people gather, dance, have events, have festivals. So you also see I'm almost always out of breath when I start really moving because I'm at very, very high altitude. So I'll just point in here. Big churches. And hi, Emil. Hi, Eric. Let's see who else is with me. Jewel, Renardi. If you guys have any questions, I will look down about Peru life. I am on my feet a lot. I am carrying stuff, usually. Always with my backpack, with my computer, some healing stuff, usually some extra groceries, things I have to pick up. This is probably the most busy day here. It's usually much, much more quiet. And I'm just going to walk back through. So there's little kids in costumes. There's a lot of dancing happening. And I'm going to just walk a little further down. And I'll try to be off to the side. Oh. So if you have any questions, let me know. But for some reason, I just thought I'd share a little bit about my day-to-day life, my walk. And that it's really beautiful and vibrant and lots going on. Puppies, people with strollers, people in different traditional dress. The dress is different in every village. They actually each have their own style. And some more big food fries. So sometimes I forget that I've lived in Peru for over a decade. I actually ran into a woman today, been here for 42 years, and she was telling me about the installation of electricity in the 90s and then the arrival of the cars. And when people started getting televisions and people were all outside and all in traditional dress until about 40 years ago. And they got their televisions and then they started dressing like Westerners. But this was their traditional clothes. This was their culture. And now, little by little, it changes. I was telling her I got here when there were no phones. And to see what happened to the younger generation as they got on TikTok was a huge shift. So we were just reminiscing and seeing what development does for the good and for kind of the negative when it comes to culture. So here's some of the shops on a quieter road. This is very, very typical. Just lots of... This road was actually completely ripped up, and it was just an open, ripped up boulders everywhere construction zone, and you're allowed to walk through those here in Peru. You just have to be careful and be responsible for yourself. And then I'm gonna go to my office now. So I'll go into my office, which is a local cafe and co-working where I write and I get a little cacao. Oh, and they're closed. But that's where they usually are. Right here. So I usually pop in there for my work, but I'll probably go around in a circle again to just show more of town, what it looks like. My area, I'm about 10 minutes moto drive. You can see it's much quieter. And yes, there's construction. But I thought, hey, why don't you guys go on a walk with me through my Peru life and see how it turns out. If anybody has questions, let me know. at the bottom about culture, about being an expat in a different country. And it's very strange. I never do selfies, nor do I record myself in public. Feel very ick about it because these are just people I usually interact with by looking in their eyes and saying, "Hi, how are you?" It's a very common thing to say, "How are you?" Hola, buenos días, ¿cómo estás? Ayin is how you say it in Quechua. This is pretty common. I'll just pop in here. These are called like naturistas, but some of the older ones call them brujerias. It has a lot of natural medicine. So I'll pop in here. So like here there's lots of different medicinal herbs, medicinal spices, things to burn, things to turn into tinctures, things to drink as tea, things to turn into balms. So I definitely pop in here from time to time. Vuelvo ya. Gracias, disculpa. So I usually am not so rude. Here in Peru, it's super rude to pop in, film, and pop out. I'm actually kind of grossed out by it. I usually would stop, talk to my casera for a while, see how she's doing, ask questions instead of just like popping and filming. It's just so considered rude. So I am going to have to figure out how I feel about that because it's not something I normally do. So you can see this is more like what town feels like on a normal day when it's not a big festival day. So let's see. I'll pop up to my cafe there and then I'll turn it off. Oh, there's two little boys peeing on the corner. That's also quite common here to just pee openly on the street. There's some really beautiful vestidos here. Really beautiful costumes. And now I'm gonna go into my secondary cafe and I will sign off there and sit down and catch my breath and not be the rude person on the video. Hola, ¿cómo estás? So then there are new Western cafes here. They didn't really used to exist for the first probably 5 to 8 years. And now there are cafes here where I can sit, have a coffee, get a little lunch, work, and yeah. So it's a bit like a different world when you pop in these places. But that's it for the tour. Hope you guys enjoyed walking around with me in Urubamba, Peru, where I live. Ciao.